Major breaking news coming out of Old Trafford today as Manchester United make official and confirm the appointment of Ralph Ragnick as their new interim manager. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, we are talking all about the news today of the official confirmation of Ralph Ragnick as the new interim manager of Manchester United. Before we get into talking about this in more detail though, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things always and very be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get back into talking about the big breaking news story coming from Old Trafford and Manchester United today, that they have confirmed the appointment of Ralph Ragnick as their new interim manager. Yes, so Ragnick takes charge at Old Trafford a week following the dismissal of former United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, and his role will be as interim manager, which will see him take charge of the club until the end of the season. And then from there, unless he does something miraculous and incredible and wins United some major silverware, I'd imagine that United will bring in a new manager come the summer. From there, the big part of this deal appears to be that after his time as manager is up, or interim manager is up, he will then go on to have a behind-the-scenes kind of role as more of a consultant or slash executive or whatever the role is. He will basically go on to have a more powerful role at Manchester United behind the scenes. Something that in the long run could work out because he does have a very impressive resume when it comes to both on and off the pitch kind of things with this, and this was seen as a big part of this overall deal to try and get the German into Manchester United as an interim manager in the first place. The 63-year-old German is known for mentoring the likes of Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, inspiring them and influencing them, along with other names like Chelsea's Thomas Tuchel and Bayern Munich's Julian Nagelsmann. He's basically a German godfather of the game, it seems. And he's been around Germany throughout the entirety of his managerial career, and then he's gone on to be more in executive roles in recent years with the likes of Red Bull, with both Leipzig and Salzburg, along with other kind of brands that Red Bull are associated with. Of course, with Leipzig, he's seen their rise in the past decade or so and helped massively in getting them to where they are right now. And more recently, he's actually been with Lokomotiv Moscow. So that part of his career is going to be short-lived, obviously, with him coming to United. Across Germany, Rangnick has actually gained this kind of title, I guess you'd say, as to being seen as a bit of a godfather of the modern game, mainly down to his tactics and his style of play, which of course is the gegenpress style of play that we've become more and more accustomed to seeing in the modern game in recent years. We've become more frequently seeing this style of play, mainly from the likes of Jurgen Klopp and Thomas Tuchel in particular, that instantly spring to mind and that I mentioned earlier, mainly because they are, of course, managers that Rangnick has either mentored or just had a major influence and inspiration over of these managers. And like I say, we're seeing it more and more in the modern game. We're seeing different variations, different tweaks to how these different managers have adopted it and achieved their status within the modern game. And I think that if Rangnick is to be known as the mentor of these, and then go on to manage Manchester United and force his style of play on this Man United side, it's quite possible that this Man United side may be a bit more bearable and a bit more exciting to watch from now until the end of the season in terms of on the eye, because they were terrible and I was loving every second of it, obviously being a rival fan. But if I am to be a bit neutral here and a bit more on their side, which I hate, they may actually be a bit more interesting to watch. Of course, his managerial CV isn't exactly elite in terms of silverware being won, but he has gained a lot of respect from managers over the years. Like I say, the ones that he's influenced and gone on to influence in the modern game, he's got a lot of respect. He's a well built up character in that regard. He has, of course, got the style of play is going to be exciting, like I mentioned. And I just think that he has helped clubs be built up on and off the pitch. And of course, in the long run, building them off the pitch from that behind the scenes kind of role will help a long way. But I think initially, to really ignite the match, so to speak, having him as a manager with his tactical know-how and his tactical knowledge will obviously help the initial rebuild of Manchester United yet again. In terms of his off-the-field CV, in terms of being an executive, he seems to have been a big overlooker, I guess, overseer of some of the great business deals that have happened, especially at Leipzig in recent years. We know about Leipzig. We know that they obviously buy small, they buy players with a lot of potential, but just aren't there yet. They go on to help develop them and make them into bigger and better stars. And then, of course, they sell for bigger and better money. And that is exactly what Leipzig have done in the past several years or so. And he's been classed as being a guy that has obviously overseen that kind of development and overseen that kind of style. And maybe that recruitment will help with his Manchester United career as well. Maybe even as soon as January, with a January transfer window that's fast approaching. But maybe more so for the long-term game, when, of course, he takes that backseat role in the summer and a new manager comes in. Maybe we'll get to see more of that, and maybe get to see how he does in terms of Manchester United's recruitment and development. Because, of course, that is pretty much where his future at the club is going to be lying, and we'll get to see him make some of the big off-field and even transfer decisions. It seems he's going to have a lot of power at that club, and maybe something that United fans can probably get behind in the long run. Of course, the question does need to be asked as to whether or not he will go on and do a madness this season, and whether or not he will stay past the interim manager stage of his Manchester United career. If he does something like win the Champions League or something, does that mean that he will stay on past being an interim manager into the permanent manager? I don't know. I'm not psychic. I don't have all the answers. It's highly unlikely United will win the Champions League, but of course, stranger things have happened in football. The interim role is something that does divide opinion, and I know has divided a lot of Manchester United fans' opinion over the course of obviously finding a new manager since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was dismissed last week. Some think it's a good idea and actually works, some think it's not so great and it just wastes time. I prefer to remain reserved on this kind of thing and wait until I see enough evidence to suggest whether or not it's a good or bad thing. I genuinely think though that he's just there to steady the ship, and of course it's more of a tactical know-how to be influenced on this squad to really start the rebuild at Manchester United yet again. And then obviously it's more of a long-term plan in the sense that he's going to be then going behind the scenes and is going to be helping United off the pitch, so to speak, in terms of their recruitment, their development, and maybe even their coaching as well. Let's face it, if a new manager comes in and he needs help, who better to ask than a veteran German manager of a modern style of play, and obviously got the tactical know-how, the development style, and also seems to have a good brain for business. So it seems like it's a very good appointment both on and off the pitch for United right now. Of course, time will tell whether that actually comes to fruition or not. But as we've seen in the past, the management is one thing. With United, it's all about, there's a lot more going on than just the management. There's the coaching to consider. Ragnick will bring with him everything that I've talked about so far in this video. He'll bring with him his own style, his own tactics, his own know-how and experience, and so on and so forth. But he's walking in on a United side that are very much underperforming. They've got a coaching staff there that isn't working and hasn't been for the past few years, but somehow are still in the job and are allowed to keep that job. Maybe he will change it, maybe he will influence it in some way. Again, it won't be a quick fix. You've got to look more towards the long-term picture in this one, but it definitely could help United in the long run in terms of coaching, development, and everything else that I've talked about within this video so far. And of course, there is a bigger problem. We know that this club is rotten to the core, so at the core is obviously going to be the backroom staff, the boardroom, the power hierarchy, the owners, however you want to label them and name them. That is obviously the bigger problem. If this is to go wrong, whether it's immediately or somewhere down the road, there is no hiding place for them. They are obviously going to have a lot of angry United fans still at their door. They probably still will have, but obviously it will be even more so later on down the line, because I still get the feeling that there are some people that still aren't exactly Glazers out, or however you want to put that. There is obviously no hiding place now for the Glazers after this. This is a big appointment for them, and they need to get it right. Whether it's now or down the line with this whole interim thing, I don't know. it would only escalate in my opinion. Overall, I think it's likely that this will be a good long-term plan that's being played out by Manchester United right now. But, of course, we will wait and see whether it actually comes to fruition or not. There is a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot more problems that lie within that club other than the manager's situation, of course. And maybe you won't see a massive or major change right off the bat. But I think in the long term, you will start to see changes. And I think whether it's Rangnick on the pitch as a manager or whether it's off the pitch, behind the scenes, changing stuff there, I think change will come to Manchester United. I just don't know when that will exactly be. Will it be enough to see them get back to where they want to be as well? Again, another question that remains to be seen. We have to wait and see. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it. This guy, I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this big breaking news story that Ralph Ragnick is now the new interim manager at Manchester United? What are your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it on this particular subject? I'd love to know them down below in the comment section because I'm sure it'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This is another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak to you all again soon in another video.